$100. That is all I started with. Not as a test, not as a demonstration, as my actual first investment in Australia, in a room I was sharing with a stranger, in a city I was still figuring out. That account is still running today, and the habit I built with that $100 has compounded. Not just financially, but in every financial decision I have made since. Today, I am going to show you the exact setup. You can copy it, and you can start today. Here is what I want you to hold in your mind for the next 10 minutes. The single biggest financial mistake Australians make is not picking the wrong investment. It is waiting. Waiting until they have more money. Waiting until they understand it better. Waiting until the time feels right. The time never feels right. And every month you wait has a cost, a real calculable cost. By the end of this video, I am going to show you that number. And once you see it, you will not wait another day. Let me show you something. 3 people, same salary, same city. One starts investing $100 a month at age 25. One starts at 30, one starts at 35. At 65, the person who started at 25 has approximately $340,000. The person who started at 30 has $220,000. The person who started at 35 has $135,000. Same $100 a month. The only difference is when they started. That gap between $340,000 and $135,000 is $205,000 lost. Not to bad investments, not to fees, to waiting. Every single month you delay is worth approximately $500 at retirement. That is the cost of waiting. And now you know it. So, what do you actually do with $100? Let us make this as simple as it can possibly be. Step 1. You need a brokerage account. This is where you actually buy your investment. In Australia in 2026, there are 3 platforms worth knowing about for someone starting with $100. Pearler, Superhero, CommSec Pocket. All 3 let you start with a small amount. All 3 are regulated in Australia, but they are not equal, and the differences matter when you are starting small. Pearler is built specifically for long-term systematic investors. It has an auto-invest feature that does exactly what we are going to set up today. Same amount, same date, every month, automatic, no thinking required. CommSec Pocket is the simplest to open if you already bank with Commonwealth Bank. Superhero has very low brokerage fees per trade. For the strategy in this video, Pearler is the one I would use. It is designed for exactly this. A quick note before we go further. Everything I am sharing today is educational. It is not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor, and what works for my situation may not be right for yours. The platforms and funds I mention are examples, not recommendations. If you need personalized advice, please speak to a licensed financial advisor. That said, let us look at what the options actually are. Step 2. What do you actually buy? This is where most beginners get stuck and where the finance industry loves to make things complicated. So I am going to make it simple. We are talking about ETFs, exchange-traded funds. An ETF is a basket. Instead of buying one company's shares and betting everything on that company, you buy a basket that holds hundreds or thousands of companies at once. When one goes down, others go up. You are not betting. You are participating in the whole market. In Australia, there are 4 ETFs worth knowing about as a beginner, and all 4 can be bought on the ASX in Australian dollars through your Australian brokerage account. No US accounts, no currency conversion, no complexity. VAS Vanguard Australian shares. This gives you Australia's top 300 companies in one purchase. Banks, mining, healthcare, retailers. The whole Australian economy in one line on your portfolio. VGS Vanguard International shares. This gives you over 1,500 companies across the US, Europe, Japan, and other developed markets. Apple, Microsoft, LVMH, Nestle, the world's biggest companies in Australian dollars, bought on the ASX, NDQ, Beta Shares, NASDAQ 100. This is the 100 biggest US technology companies. Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Alphabet. If you want exposure to tech and the innovation economy, this is the clean way to do it from Australia. and IVV iShares S&P 500. This is America's 500 largest companies listed right here on the ASX. It gives you almost identical exposure to what Americans get when they buy VOO, but without needing a U.S. brokerage account and without the U.S. estate tax risk that comes with U.S. domiciled funds for Australian investors. So which one do you buy first? Here is my honest answer. Pick one. Either VAS if you want to start with Australian companies, or VGS if you want global exposure from day one. Both are fine, both are diversified, both have low fees. The most important thing is not which one you pick, it is that you pick one and start. You have your platform. You have your ETF. Now, the part that most people skip and the part that makes the entire difference. Step 3. Set up the automatic investment. This is called a systematic investment plan, or SIP, and it is the single most powerful thing you can do with $100. Here is how it works. You open your Perler account. You deposit $100. You go to the Auto Invest section. You set your ETF, let us say VGS. You set the amount, $100. You set the date the day after your salary hits your account. You confirm. Done. Every month from that point forward, $100 moves from your account into your ETF, automatically, without you having to think about it, without you having to feel motivated, without you having to remember. This is the system I set up for myself when I first arrived in Sydney with nothing. And it is the same system I have helped other people build. From a teacher earning $52,000 a year to a tech worker earning $140,000. The amount changes, the system does not. Because the system is not about the amount, it is about removing the decision from the equation entirely. The second you have to decide each month whether to invest, you will find a reason not to. An unexpected expense, a night out, a new phone. The SIP removes the decision, and removing the decision is the entire game. Now, the question I get asked more than any other, what do I do when the market drops? Because it will drop. At some point in your investing life, you will open your portfolio and see that it has gone down. Maybe 5%, maybe 20%, maybe more. Here is what you do. Nothing. You do absolutely nothing. And you let the SIP keep running. Because when markets fall, your $100 buys more units of your ETF than it did when prices were high. You are getting the same basket of companies at a discount. The SIP turns market downturns into a mechanical advantage, without you having to be brave or disciplined or calm. The system handles it. Every major market decline in history has been followed by a recovery to a new high. Not every individual company, but every broad market index. VAS VGS NDQ IVV has recovered. Every single time. The only investors who lost money permanently were the ones who panicked and sold at the bottom. The SIP stops you from doing that. $100 a month, one ETF, one automatic transfer. That is the whole system. But here is where it gets interesting. The $100 SIP is not the destination. It is the starting habit. Once it feels automatic, which usually takes 2 to 3 months, you increase it, not dramatically, just by $50 or $100. And you keep doing that. Every time you get a pay rise, every time an expense disappears, every time something in your budget gets cheaper, the extra goes into the SIP. In the Video 2 framework, the Sydney 50-30-20, the target for the wealth building bucket is 20% of take-home pay. On a $5,250 take-home, that is $1,050 a month. You do not start there, you grow there. $100 becomes $200. $200 becomes $500. $500 becomes $1,050. Each step is a win. Each step compounds. And here's the number I want to leave you with. $1,050 a month, the 20% target, at 8% average annual return over 30 years, becomes $1.4 million from an $80,000 Sydney salary. The journey starts with $100 and one SIP. The destination is financial independence. And the only thing between where you are now and that destination is starting. Here is what to do in the next 30 minutes. Open Perler. Create your account. It takes about 10 minutes. Deposit $100. Set up an auto invest into VAS or VGS for the day after your next payday. Done. You have just done something that most people in Australia will never do because they are still waiting for the right moment. The right moment is now. Subscribe to Paycheck Decoded. Every video on this channel is going to give you something specific, a number, a framework, a step that moves your financial position forward. That is the deal. The next video covers superannuation, the 11.5% of your salary that most Australians completely ignore, and ignoring it is costing them more than they think. I will see you there.